Jack Grealish to Everton. I'm excited over this one. Multiple sources, including the Bobble, the reliable ones, are confirming that Everton do have a big interest in Jack Grealish, and it changes Everton on the pitch but also off the pitch, and I'm going to explain exactly how that works. Firstly, we know that Jack Grealish is an incredibly technical player, mostly used by Manchester City off the left, and that is a possibility for Everton. However, we already have a player on the left-hand side that is one of the better, if not the best player we currently have in Iliman Ndiaye. Especially as an attacker that will provide goals, will provide assists. I know he didn't get an assist last season, but trust me, he does create the chances. We know that as Everton fans. Maybe some people on the outside looking in don't. But this season, he could have a lot of assists with the attacking talent we've brought in. But this video is about Jack Grealish. So let's see exactly how he fits in onto the pitch and why the signing of Grealish changes a lot of things for Everton Football Club. Firstly, I've already looked at Grealish as an individual and what he's good at technically, what he offers to Everton. But now let's look at how he actually fits within this Everton team, because he may not fit in this Everton team how he fit at Manchester City. And that's a good thing. Because at Everton, we probably know that we need an attacking midfielder, we need a creator. And to get the best out of Jack Grealish, I can very much see him being used in the middle like this. But the beauty of this is that you're not structured. You're not tied down to a singular position. Grealish in the middle would have that license to interchange with Iliman Ndiaye. They could swap around. It would make it difficult for defenders to go man to man and mark them. The ability to interchange does make the attack a bit more fluid, gives it a bit more depth as well in being able to hurt opposition in different areas of the pitch by constantly swapping. Also allows Everton to change tactics during the game without actually making a substitution. And then, of course, you've got the aspect of the right winger. We know that we are linked with Tyler Dibling. Done a video on that as well. Go check that out after you've watched this, of course. But that front three, or that attacking midfield three of Ndiaye, Grealish and Dibling. What's good about those three in particular is that they're comfortable in different areas of the pitch. In the Dibling video, in the previous Grealish video I did, we covered how both of them are influential all over the pitch. And that is something that Everton are clearly looking to add to this squad. The ability to hurt teams with those interchanging attacking midfield three. And that's something that Jose Mourinho actually did at Chelsea years ago with his use of Juan Mata, for example. And that's something that may come back to football, especially in the Premier League this season, probably taking a bit of inspiration from how PSG play. Maybe Everton won't go as aggressive with it, obviously, because we've got Tieno Barry up top, we've got Beto up top, players that are pretty resolute in they stay up front and they don't really move from there. Having said that, in the Tieno Barry video, I did cover that he often does drift to that left-hand side. With all of that considered, the left-hand side for Everton could be a huge problem for opposition teams, because not only have you got Iliman Ndiaye there, you've got Grealish who will come over to that left side, you got Barry who likes to drift into that channel, and then there's someone we haven't even mentioned yet, Adam Asnou. So tactically, it could look similar to this, with a lot of the play being driven down that left-hand side, with the right-hand side being less voluminous in how many bodies are actually in those zones, but that's fine. I think in transition, Everton are going to get the best out of Jack Grealish. Grealish faced a big problem at Manchester City in the fact that City often pinned opposition back, meaning that spaces were quite tight, meaning that he often had to pass backwards to prevent City from, one, losing the ball, but two, being vulnerable to a transition. But at Everton, it's completely different, because obviously we know that we often sit back and then look to hurt teams in the open spaces when there's a transition. And Grealish's ball carrying could be crucial in this, because we know he can carry the ball through the middle. He's not got loads of pace, it isn't that quick, but however, he does make the decisions quick, and that in itself is almost better than pace at times, because he would release the ball at perfect times with a lot of movement surrounding him. And then you've got someone else that we haven't mentioned yet, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. So when Everton are actually pinning these teams back, and hopefully we do this because it'll be fantastic to watch, we could have Kieran Dewsbury-Hall being that box-to-box player, whilst Grealish operates in the pockets with Iliman Ndiaye on the left. One thing is pretty clear in Everton's recruitment, it's the ball carriers. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall at Leicester was at his best when he was carrying the ball, threatening an opposition with movement around him. Grealish as well at Aston Villa, if you go further back, was at his best with movement around him, carrying the ball directly at the heart of defences. And then we obviously, Iliman Ndiaye, he's also a ball carrier. And then if we bring Tyler Dibbling in, do you know what he is? He's a ball carrier as well. So it could be so direct. It could be extremely vertical when Everton do have the ball. And that's pretty exciting. We probably will be a transitional team. However, it won't be a hoofball team. It'll be a play it on the ground, try to make those 15-yard passes, punch it into each other, move the ball quickly up the pitch, but with effect, not aimless. And that's a big problem we had last season, not under Moyes, but Pickford was often being asked to just play those aimless balls forward in the hope that we could win some scraps high up the pitch. I think with these new signings, there'll be a lot more purpose to it, and there'll be more purpose to how we play. But now the signing of Jack Grealish as an entity. We've brought in 3 good players in Asnu, Dewsbury Hall and Tierney Barry, but they lack something that Grealish has. And that is being a big name. I know the wages are crazy. 250,000 a week is a lot of money. However, that is £12 million for the season. If Jack Grealish gets to Europe, if it gets us to finish 8th, 7th or 6th. 6th feels a bit ambitious, but say 7th. You've made that money back in Europe. You've made that money back by being in the European competition. And that unlocks something for us that we've struggled with this summer, especially when it came to Malik Fofana. The lack of European competition. That allows us to then bring in more players. Sometimes you do have to take that initial hit to then bring in the other players. But playing with Grealish is genuinely going to be an attraction for a lot of players and convince players to come to play for Everton. And for those who doubt that, look at James Rodriguez. Bringing James Rodriguez in almost changed how Everton was viewed because we managed to get that big name in. But the Grealish one is a bit different because James was coming to play for the manager. He was coming for Carlo Ancelotti. If we didn't have Ancelotti, James would have never come in the first place. But Jack Grealish isn't really going to come for David Moyes. He's coming for Everton. He's coming for the project. He's coming for the stadium. He's coming for the attacking talent we've signed. He's coming for the guaranteed minutes. And I think that will play a massive part in the perception of Everton because we know we're a big club. It's not only time to start acting like it, it's time to convince other people that we are still a big club. We're not going anywhere. The new stadium helps, but league position helps more than anything. And with the Tyler Dibbling question marks up in the air, it does feel like he is maybe a little bit going on strike to try and push that move through to Everton without making a massive stink of things. But with Grealish coming in, it might influence Tyler Dibbling's decision to maybe stink the place out a bit more. Is that something you want them to do? Maybe, maybe it isn't. Southampton are playing a lot of hardball at the minute, and it does feel like we may overpay. The biggest thing about the Dibbling deal is that we don't give them a 25% sell-on fee, because that would mean that Everton make almost no profit when it comes to selling him. All in all, I really feel that Grealish does fit for Everton. It's not a signing that we're just getting for the sake of it just because he's available. He's a signing that fits the team. He's a signing that brings others into the team and makes them better to start with. It really does fit the ethos under Everton, under David Moyes especially. And then from a marketing perspective, Jack Grealish has got a Gucci deal. When has an Everton player ever had a Gucci deal? But, you know, it can't hurt, I guess. And if you're watching Jack, I'll take some Gucci stuff. I mean, I'm available. This is one of the biggest signings Everton have made in recent memory, especially for me. It does feel very much like that James deal where people that, to start with, weren't really convinced that we would be able to get him. But now it does look like we are getting him. Hopefully, the domino effect of having Grealish is that other players do start to come through the door. If we do get Grealish in for the start of the season and he's able to start that first game, I think we go into that Leeds game very, very positive. And there's a likelihood that most of them start. I'm a bit sceptical on whether Tierney Barry will start or not. I think David Moyes may go with Beto just because he trusts him a bit more, and then Barry will come in as the season goes on. But I really do feel like Dewsbury Hall will start. His corners against Roma, his chance creation, his ball carrying, all excellent. He does instantly improve us. So the last question is, are we excited for Grealish? I am. And if you do want to see a more in-depth video about Jack Grealish as a player, just click here.